What's up, guys? Welcome to the sesh. Rob,
We're back.
we're back, and we got a special guest, Rachel, in the house.
Hey, Rachel.
Rachel, kind of talk about our background together, like how I met you and what you were doing and what were you up to.
So I met Josh at the Children's Advocacy Center of Hidalgo County. I was a family advocate there, and Josh started doing, I guess, like our social media pages, kind of like our IT, not IT, but the running of the social media pages.
the
and going
advertisement and the
recording
social media
stuff.
presence.
He was always picking me out to do interviews, and I would be like, ugh.
Anyone that would look at me, I was like, all right, you're up.
I would hide. I would always hide. If I knew Josh was in the building, I'd run because I knew he was going to pick me.
Well, it still happens with every single client I have. So.
Yeah,
And
that
I'd be
hasn't
like,
changed.
no, I just can't. I get real nervous. You know, I'd like sweaty pits, everything.
Everything, like it's-
the queen of like I said earlier. I just, yeah, but that's how I met Josh. And we've just kind of kept in contact because of the center. He was
Nice.
always really involved. And I know we've tried to talk before, but it was just crazy, you know,
Under different
schedules.
circumstances, yeah. I think
Schedules and everything.
the interesting thing what had piqued my interest to get you on was I had read something horrific about something, and I was like, well, you're a perfect person to talk to about that, but your hands were tied because you couldn't talk at the time. But then you also started blowing up on TikTok and selling all these things, which is not more interesting, but interesting for what I do for a living, if that makes sense. Like, because my goal is to make as much money from the internet as possible. So that's always been my goal, and I wanted to, you know, get insight from you on how you did it, what you did, how was it even possible. I mean, somebody from the Valley doing that stuff, I think, is pretty admirable, and you don't get to hear about these stories very often. So kind of just jump into it, the whole Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing.
So I think like everybody else, you know, I was really invested in the trial and everything that was going on. And just the simple fact that he was able to get a jury trial for defamation. That in itself.
That's a big thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Aside from their, you know,
Notoriety.
movies.
Yeah, their fame.
Yeah, their fame with the level that they're at. So of course I was invested in it. Honestly, it happened by accident. So if you're asking me how I did it, I have no idea. I have no idea. It wouldn't have happened. It would not have been possible without my son. That I can tell you right now. My son started his own brand. He just researched. He's self-taught. Everything he knows, he is self-taught. He's had people that he has reached out to, and they mentor him, and they kind of helped him in the beginning. But honestly, he's learned everything on his own. He's, you know, started doing this at the age of 19.
Give a shout out to him because we were talking about him earlier, and I was
Yeah.
like, we've heard of him before.
Mikey,
We've had
he's-
full-blown discussions about your son and how he has progressed in his industry. And it's funny because it seems like you, yourself, Rachel, and your son have been in my life for the last week almost because
think
my
a little bit
wife
longer, yeah.
went to go do her nails at a nail salon in Westlaco with a young lady by the name of Erica, and she was wearing one of your shirts. And
Oh,
And she said, I
wow.
bought this shirt. And my wife Judy was like, "Oh my God, where'd you get it?" She's like, "From a local lady here who's selling them now." And it was a Amber Heard Johnny Depp shirt. So that's how you have manifested into my life prior to today that we meet for the first time. But another associate of ours, Carlos, has this backpack, and has this really elaborate story about this individual who started his own brand of clothing.
Very
called-
niche
Very
market.
niche, called Psych Ward. And he was educating us about him and how he, you know, does things. And then you walk in the day, and it happens to be your son.
Yep.
So you've been in our conversations indirectly, and your son as well for the last whole week. And then I'm kind of putting all the dots together. Now I'm tripping out. Like,
That's so
wow,
crazy.
It is. What's your
It's-
son's name?
His name's Mikey.
Mikey. Okay.
Mike.
Mikey.
I
who
still
is-
call him Mikey. I tell him I don't care if you're 50. I'm gonna call you Mikey forever. He's my Mikey.
So-
But like his followers, they all know him as Mike Molly. He never wanted to use his real name, and that's gonna come into play in a little bit whenever I start talking about what happened with me.
Sure,
So
definitely.
he's always gone by Mike Molly to his followers.
So he's the one who kind of kicked you off on this or pointed you in the direction?
So what happened was I had taken a leave from work. You know, I just had to. I went back to school. It was getting really busy at work, and it's just I needed to kind of just recharge, and initially that's what I thought I was going to do. It was just a break. I was suffering from burnout, having to work with listening to trauma every single day. And I think it
Takes
started
its toll.
affecting me a little bit more when I started working side by side with the nurse, because with the nurse, I was actually in the room when she was conducting the exams.
Wow.
So I've done that for the past few years. It wasn't just a family advocate, I was now a medical advocate. But hearing it firsthand from the children themselves, I think kind of maybe started taking a toll on me a little bit. So I just needed a little break. And in this break, I've always had this thing for like crafting and, doing little projects, DIY stuff. I had the stuff to make t-shirts. And I honestly went and I made a t-shirt for me. That's how it started.
Wow.
What is the saying? If you won't wear it, nobody else will.
Nobody, if you're not making it for yourself, nobody else will.
Yeah, so I said, I'm going to make a Johnny Depp t-shirt because, well, that's what was going on,
we
the
all love
trial
Johnny
and
Depp.
everything. And it was probably maybe a week after he had made the whole, the comment where he said, isn't happy hour anytime?
Anytime, yeah.
So I said, you know what? I had found this picture on the internet, and I added the text, which was for me, my personal use. So copyright people, like, don't come at me.
Yeah, chill
I
out.
was not selling it. It was it was my T-shirt, and I designed it and I made it, and I kind of just posted on TikTok and on Facebook, like, look what I'm kind of like making. Nowhere on there did it say for sale, nothing like that. It happened to be the Friday that I picked up my last check. I had already
wow.
finished all my vacation time and my sick time. That was that Friday. The Thursday prior to, it was after midnight. I had posted it on TikTok, fell asleep, woke up in the morning. My 12-year-old had an appointment. So I'm taking him to the doctor and he tells me, Mom, you have 100 comments on your TikTok. Mind you, I had 100 followers, and they were all people I knew. I would only follow people, or we would follow each other, but it was just people that I knew. I wouldn't go adding random folks on there. And I start looking, and I'm just everybody's asking me, where can I get it? Where can I buy it? Where's the link? I can't believe you posted without a link. Yada, yada, yada. Well, I'm just I tell my husband, I said, hey, people are asking me to buy the shirt. What do I do? And he says, where? I said, on TikTok. He's like your friends? And I said, no, they're people I don't know. He's like,
Everybody.
for the world? I'm like, I don't know where they're from. He's like, why would you do that? Why would you post it for everybody if you're not going to sell? You don't have the stuff to make it at that quantity, what? So I'm calling my son, Mikey, who is the night owl. Okay, mind you, this is 8 a.m.
Yeah, there's no way
That
he's
one, he
answering.
goes to sleep at 6 a.m, sleeps all day, and he works at night because all he does is everything's computer, designing. So that's just his schedule. It's always been like that. So I'm just like, Mikey, this is kind of an emergency, mijito. Can you call me, please? Nothing. I let a few hours go by. My 12-year-old looks again. He's like, Mom, you're up to 1,000 comments. I said, I start shaking, and I'm like, what do I do? I'm calling my son again. Mikey, they're asking me for a link. Do I send them my Cash App thing and email, or please get back to me? Nothing, still nothing. And then I said, you know what? I'm gonna call his roommate. And I call his roommate and I said, Jason, if you're there at the apartment, please wake Mikey up. It's an emergency. Tell him to get back to me. By that time, my son read the messages. He still hadn't called me. All he said, I'm creating your website right now. That's all he replied to me.
Boom. In business.
So he then calls me. He says, where are you at? I said, I'm running errands. He's like, you need to come home right now because I need you here. We need to come up with your brand name. We need to come up. I said, just do whatever. People are asking me for a link, Mike. It's at 3,000 comments already. In a span of hours.
Sheesh.
So it went from 100 to 1,000 to 3,000. And I'm like, do I reply? He's like, start replying to people that the link is going up later. I was replying so much that TikTok banned my comments. I couldn't comment anymore. It told me that I was replying to too many people at the same time. So I think they thought maybe I was a spammer or a computer or something. I couldn't comment anymore.
Wow.
I get home in a span of maybe an hour and a half tops. He bought domain. He set up so I could accept Stripe payment, PayPal payments.
Up and running.
Everything. And he's like, okay, link is up. Make another post, put on there, your link is up. And he opened up like the Google Analytics, which is it tells you like how many people are on your page and things like that. Within, like he's like, look, okay, this is how you're gonna tell how many people are on your site. Look, you have 2 people, 15 people, 30 people. Mom, oh my God! And then you just start hearing ching, 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 like
Sound of money.
$10,000 the first night.
You're kidding me.
The website was up and running by 6 p.m. Friday. By midnight, at midnight, I hit $10,000.
In sales of T-shirts.
Then I started thinking, how am I gonna do this? Nobody here locally. This is, mind you, there's still shortages of things coming in.
Everything, yeah.
I'm reaching out to all the local T-shirt businesses. Like, I need like 1,000 shirts, right? At this point, I'm just like, at first I was like, okay, I need 500 just to have extra. And then by the next day, Saturday, I had another 17,000. Just on Saturday.
You are stories that we hear about that are little unicorns.
17,000
Aside from the
in
10,000.
sales?
In sales.
So in 2 days, you're already hitting $30,000.
Yes.
Wow.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yes.
That is awesome. I love to
you.
hear these stories.
And so is it a specific, it's just one design?
My son tells me, you know, it's so crazy because I've had my brand for so many years already, and you surpassed I had 10 items on my website because he'll do drops. He'll do a monthly drop, right? And he'll have like 10 different items, and it can have from apparel to clothing to
Accessories,
blankets,
anything, yeah.
you know, whatever. He says, you made more in sales on one shirt than I did having 10 items
Wow.
on a monthly, yeah.
That's
And that was
insane.
just opening weekend. So then I shut down the website because I'm just like, okay,
I can't take any more orders.
I can't, right? But people were messaging me.
Wow.
I don't care how long I have to wait. I don't care. I honestly, today, I'm working on my last 38 orders.
Wow.
I sold a little bit over 1,600 T-shirts. Well, 1,600 orders, so it's more T-shirts because some people would order 4,
Yeah.
3, 6. I had some people order up to 6 shirts.
And these were going all around the United States?
All around the United States. I did ship one to Australia because this lady messaged me personally and said, I will pay whatever. I didn't want to do international because I felt like the shipping is outrageous. She was like, I will pay whatever it takes. She paid $50 shipping to get it within a
Wow,
week.
to get a T-shirt.
She wanted it within the week. So
That's insane.
crazy.
That's
I'm just
so
like,
admirable, man. Like, I'm so overwhelmed with joy because these are success stories that you hear about.
That you never
and
get to meet the
You never
person.
get to meet the people. You know, you never get to hear how it happened or how it materialized. And
I always get those YouTube ads like, you want to sell all this stuff in 30 days? Come and
this
take
was-
my course.
Yeah, and this was with no ads.
Yeah,
you know, my
it's
son
awesome.
buys
It's
ads.
organically, yeah.
So my son buys ads, and whenever he has his stuff going, and he'll promote it, right?
And this was exclusively through TikTok.
This was exclusively through TikTok because I had posted it on Facebook, you know, and the whole thing with that Friday being my last check, I told my husband, you know, if I sell 10 shirts a week at $20,
yeah,
I can help with groceries at least. You know, my husband's like, don't worry about it. Focus on school. Take a break. I don't know what I would do without my husband being like as supportive as he is. He's amazing, you know, and he had been telling me for such a long time, just, you need to take a break. You know, I had a little health scare a few years back, and he's just like, take it easy, go back to school, you know.
focus on yourself.
But yes. And with this happening, he's like, you always said that you were waiting for the sign. No.
That's
Here's
a
Yeah,
sign.
your
who
sign.
knew Johnny Depp was on his way? with-
Johnny Depp helped a lot more people than he thought.
I tell you, man, that is so wonderful. So you have this one shirt, isn't happy hour anytime, and sold 1,600 orders of it, which equates to well more than just 1,600 shirts. Was that the only design?
I did have other ones, but they weren't hitting
As well as
as
the
well.
first
So
one.
I said, you know what, I'm not gonna being that they sold at the amount at the pace that they did, I had to buy everything in bulk so that it would be cost efficient to me.
Yeah.
Because then at that point, this was already out of my hands. There's no way I can print.
Yeah, this was a
1,600
business already, yeah.
Yeah, like overnight, you know. So I had to outsource somebody to print the images, the sublimation images for me, because it was a sublimation. It's an ink that bakes, that you have to bake, and you press it into a shirt. So it's not vinyl-y, it's not like
stick on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not any. It's not. So you do press it, but it's ink that bakes onto the
It
shirt.
becomes a part of the shirt. Yeah.
Right. So I had to outsource somebody, which I found a local gentleman that helped me out in printing them at a very fast pace and the quantity that I needed. I had to outsource the T-shirts from another state because nobody here locally had them before I met this other gentleman. Now I get them through him. Everything had to be outsourced. The thing that I was doing though, and this is what it was so time consuming, was that it wasn't just a plain T-shirt. It was a reverse tie-dye T-shirt. So
Yeah, I saw your picture. You
So
had
what-
a ton of them laying out.
laid out on my grass. So what it is, reverse tie-dye, is that you're basically tie-dyeing, but you don't add color, you're taking the color out. So it's bleach. I literally bought like garden sprayers, filled it up with my bleach, half water. I would scrunch them up, bleach them, spray them, flip it, spray it. Have to take everything to the laundromat, wash it. And I, come
It's
home,
a process.
press the image, and then ship everything out.
Wow.
I haven't seen these shirts, so I was thinking black shirt, just a picture, some letters. There's a whole process to getting the look that you
That you want
demonstrate.
specifically.
Yes.
Wow.
And so every T-shirt has to be unique in the sense that the tie-dye or reverse tie-dye is
Cannot be
different
predicted.
on
Yeah.
all of them. You can't
exactly.
predict them.
And I did
So-
have people message me, this one doesn't look like the one you posted. I'm like, I can't predict bleaching effects. I can't even predict bleaching color because so many things come into play.
Wow, fabric.
Weather
Yeah.
comes into play. The fabric is the same, but weather, sunlight, the hotter the day is, the brighter the sun is,
Interesting.
that's how it's gonna more the color that it pulls out because the UV light has a lot to do with it.
Wow.
So it would. I was like on a time crunch, during the day. If I had something to do in the morning or whatever, I'm like, okay, let's go. We have to go bleach. So I'd be out there bleaching, and everybody helped me.
What did your neighbors say?
My neighbor. So there was the backyard. It's closed off. Nobody would see it, right? But there was we had my 17-year-old's graduation party. So we had like the tent, the tables, and everything set up for a few days. So I'm just like, pues ni modo, I'm gonna have to go bleach in the front yard. People would look at me. The neighbor's at Border Patrol, and he's like, comes out of work, he works graveyard, and he comes in the morning. He's like, what are y'all doing? I'm like, we're making T-shirts. He's like,
Wait a minute. What did the bleach do to your grass?
so it's not as pretty as it used to be.
I'd be livid. I'd be like,
It's
"Girl,
not
you
a-
better go get me a new grass.
It's still alive. It's our gentleman that goes and helps us cut the grass. He's like, I think you have a plague going on in your grass. Like I need to fertilize it. I'm like, don't even bother right now.
Yeah.
It's not a plague.
It's just bleach.
It's just bleach. He's like, why are you putting Clorox? And I'm just like, it's a long story. Making T-shirts.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Holy shit, I'm blown away. When you told me that Rachel had started a business, a T-shirt business, I did not in a million years think that she started one in 24 hours.
No, and that's why I wanted you to hear this, because a lot of people are trying to do this stuff on the internet. Like they've been trying to their online businesses, but you just did it.
And it happened.
That is
Like there's
baffling
no
to
other
me.
explanation other than divine intervention, the way everything
Sure.
played out.
Yeah.
Like the day that the fact that I have my son that was able to help me, because this would have never happened without him if he wasn't.
Yeah.
If I didn't have somebody that.
Well,
I mean, I
savvy,
could have done it.
Yeah, that knew the
but they
ropes.
would have charged me $2,000 to set
Yeah.
up a website, to buy domains, to this, to that, like because my son charges
Yeah, to
Quite a
do
bit.
that.
Yeah.
$18,000, $2,000.
Easily to get it up, especially
start
as
it for
that
somebody.
fast. Yeah, absolutely. It's-
So, how long ago was this? Right when the trial started?
I don't remember the exact date, but it was in mid-April.
Mid-April.
Yes, mid-April.
so you're closing up? You're closing shop, or you just paused for now?
I paused it. Actually, like I said, I had paused it, but then people were reaching out to me, so I reopened it, and now I'm just adding other stuff on there. So I have like tumblers now, some with the same design. I have like the little glass beer can glasses that you can add like your iced coffee to, and I do other stuff also. But right now, like people are still reaching out to me about Johnny. I have another Johnny design that I have in mind, but I'm waiting for my son to get back because I need him to Photoshop and edit the image so that I can use it.
Taking a technical turn to the conversation, how does that work? as far as copywriting and his image and things like that?
So images have to be altered a certain percentage in order for you to be able to. This is where my son comes into play.
Got you.
Yeah. So
Wow,
I
okay.
need him. And I even asked him, like, do you have your laptop with you? He's like, yes, but I'm busy right now, Mom. I'm just like, I really need you to edit this image for me, Mikey, please. So he's going to get back later this week. I have another design that I have thought of, but if not, I'm like, hey, I can think of other stuff to do. You
Anything.
know, like the thing is that, and it's like I told my husband, like, if nothing else blows up, that's fine, because this is going to get me through my
Yeah.
year. You know, I got my
There's
year's
always
salary.
subject matter. There's
There-
always
there will
subject
always
matter
be.
to do parodies of, or to mimic, or to just elaborate on through a T-shirt or a saying. I think that this is going to be in your future indefinitely. I don't think that it's going to ever go away. You know, there's pauses in every industry.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And there's
I
ups and,
hope so.
downs in them. But to start on such a massive uplift, to give you the padding you need to sustain the slower months until the next trend hits, gosh, my God, I think you and your son both are doing literally what you guys are supposed to be doing. There's just no other
Well,
explanation.
what you have is the most important thing, which is the audience. So you can bring them along for anything. I mean, I've heard of the why follow the 1,000 true fans thing, which is if you have 1,000 fans only and you put out something and they're buying that all the time, you'll sustain your life forever.
For indefinitely, yeah. Yeah, I agree. So what's next? Like what, now are you just kind of waiting to see, you like, all right, what else can we, do? Or do you have something that you're currently working on?
I have some ideas. Like I said, I'm waiting for my son to get back this Friday because I need him to edit a particular picture that I want edited. But if not, I said, you know what, I'll go with it. I had somebody reach out to me yesterday saying that they need a birthday party stuff for a particular, I don't want to say the name, but it's a particular theme that isn't easy to find. So she wants custom cups and custom baggies and banners and things like that. So I'm just like, hey, this was my, like you said,
Intro,
like my,
introduction,
my
yeah.
introduction, and I can still upkeep by doing all these other little things, and then the way I used to do it before is just like I would make pens or epoxy this or tumblers or whatever. It was always for whatever holiday was going on, whatever school event. You know how it is in elementary schools. It's like doctors.
They always have something.
And dot day and
Yeah.
whatever day and pink day or whatever. Like I'm like I can still
You can
keep
keep
it
up,
up with
yeah.
that. And at the end of the day, I wasn't supposed to be working. My husband's able to. I'm blessed that he's able to sustain the family. And if this is just our cushion, so that I can
Let it be,
continue going
yeah.
to
So be
school and finish that up. Hey, I'm rolling with it right now.
And all of this all of this work that you conduct and do is based out of your home?
Out of my garage.
That's awesome. I
Our
love it.
garage.
Regular Bill Gates over here, man. Like,
The internet has changed the world. And we talk about this all the time. It shrunk the world because you can reach anybody at any time, anywhere.
I had a shirt shipped out to every single state in the United States
That's awesome.
within the month.
that
Within the month.
is
I had a little
Awesome.
map
Yeah.
where it was like, okay, and I was just like, towards the end, it was Delaware. Like, I just need Delaware. Somebody from Delaware, come
like the
on.
elections, man.
Come on. And then it hit. And I remember I called Mikey. I'm like, Mikey, I shipped to all the states already. I was so excited. I was so excited because I'm
That's
just like,
amazing.
this one little T-shirt that I did in my enclosed garage, I shipped it to every single state in the United States within a matter of a month.
That's Rio Grande Valley resident right here,
Yes,
man.
right
That's
there,
amazing.
Potential
I love
of
it.
effort and consistency, man, and collaboration. Because if there's one thing I hear and often and sometimes repeat when you're talking to people is any award ceremony, any business triumph that you overcome, the person receiving the award or the recognition always goes back normally and says, I couldn't have done it without this, or I couldn't have done it without him or her. So to hear that your son, is in this industry and helped you, and for you to be able to say like, no, I realized that I needed another individual's help to attain this kind of success is important to touch on, because It's like I told you when we started, man. One is just too small a number to achieve greatness. You need help. Yeah. And for those of you out there watching or listening who think, man, I got this, I can juggle all 15 of these chainsaws and nothing's going to happen, you're wrong. You need help, like no matter what, whether it's a solo act or not. So to hear you say that and how the help is coming from somebody with less years than you, less, life experiences and things like that. The help is coming from a very unexpected source in my eyes.
Which is also interesting too, because you talked about that you always wanted Mikey to go to school do this stuff. So talk about that, because I think that's super interesting, because I always have that thing is like, I understand school's very important in certain industries and just to learn and be around that environment. So you talked to Mikey and said that you need to go to school, you need to do this, and you were forcing it down his throat, but he said, no, he wants to do design. Kind of touch on that.
And, and it wasn't about, and I told him to go to school for design. And when you say like it takes multiple people or like several people, yes, because I'm going to be honest, this wasn't even my idea for this design.
Wow.
My best friend since the 6th grade was the one I wasn't working. Before I would always go to bed real early and, well, she's a housewife and she would send me late TikToks or jokes or memes. Since I wasn't working, we had gotten into the habit of like staying up late, kind of chit-chatting on the phone and stuff. And she says, hey, I found this picture. Do this one in a shirt. She's the one that sent me the picture. And I literally, as I have her on the phone, we hung up and I did it really quick on my laptop and I send her a picture from my screen like this. She's like, yes, do it like that. Perfect. The next day is when I did my bleaching, my tie-dye and everything. And then I created it. And then that's, oh yeah, I want one too. So when I was posted that TikTok, I had like maybe 5 or 6 laid out shirts, and then that's the one that went viral. So when you say like it takes multiple people, like she was like, I tell her she's my creative designer. I called her the next day, and I'm bawling. I'm bawling, right? The next morning, and she's like, what happened? What's wrong? And I'm like, my shirt went viral. And she's like, why are you crying?
We're still trying to go viral.
I was just so overwhelmed because I still couldn't. It took me a good maybe 2 weeks to understand what was happening.
Comes with it, yeah. What comes with that kind of notoriety.
And then with Mikey's words, I'll never forget his words to me, my kid. He's like, I told you the internet can change a person's life.
Yeah.
So with Mikey, when he went to school, he started college his freshman year. And since his, I think sophomore year in high school, he would go and put his brand, he created his brand, right? Psych word. And he would go and get shirts screen printed and he would sell them to his buddies at school. Sweatshirts, t-shirts, $20-25. And that's how he would make extra money.
Hustle.
In his senior yearbook, they wrote an article about him.
Wow.
And he's there saying, and people would make fun of him. Mm-hmm. He's there saying, I'm going to be, this is my design, I'm a designer. I'm, going full force with it. I'm going to sell my stuff. I'm going to sell it. And he got teased about it. And to this day, he still says, I want to buy a billboard and put it right in front of the school. Like, that's his goal, for those teachers and people that told him otherwise.
Yeah.
And it's like I tell him, Mikey, it's because when he quit going to school, I was extremely upset with him. And I told him, look, I'm not going to have an adult kid living in my house for free. You're going to pay rent. Mm-hmm. You can pay rent, your insurance, your cell phone. You want an adult? This is adult. I'm not going to hand nothing was ever handed to me. I'm not going to enable my child to just be at home doing nothing or his hobby. I would say that it's like a hobby, because I couldn't fully understand how a person could make a living selling stuff on the internet. Because you're not out. Yeah,
you're not out physically going
sweating,
person to person,
busting your butt.
That's not the traditional work that we all grew up with.
Our era, unless you're out there
hustling and making ends meet, it's not going to come.
It's not going to happen. So I'm not from that generation of the internet world. Mm-hmm. I mean, I use it and stuff, but not at that capacity.
Yeah.
And when he started blowing up, he told me, Mom, the internet can change a person's life. And then it comes back to me full circle.
Wow.
It's just like, and he's like, I told you, Mom. I told you. I'm like, I know, baby. And it's not that, it's like I told him, it's not that I never believed in him. Because I knew since Mikey has always
designed something.
He's always been, drawing. He has ADHD and he struggled with it a lot growing up, and that was his way
Outlet.
of his outlet. Exactly, his drawing, you know, and it got him to where he's at now. You know, he's made a living. He's 21 now. He's made a living for 2.5 years.
And then I think the way you described earlier, like that it's a little darker, a little gothic-ier, and Psych Ward, the name. I think that nowadays a lot of parents would have campaigned against that theme, you know, campaigned against the mood or the insinuation of the shirt or the apparel. I know my dad would have been like, "You ain't gonna wear that shit. What's wrong with you? What mess?" You know. And for him to find the niche and cater to it and not let it influence the business side of the niche or the theme is super admirable, because I see kids out there who are super gothy and super, you know, wearing some stuff that it doesn't appeal to my taste, but I understand how they feel themselves in it. And never in my mind do I see that and think somebody is making a living off of that shirt, somebody is designing that shirt. All you see is the individual wearing it.
Yeah.
So not to hear you say that, I think that it speaks volumes to the fact that you, although you were against him leaving school, I feel like you had to have nurtured his aspirations.
I did, because I'm a true crime junkie.
Yeah, and that's what I was about to talk about. It's like you go on to Netflix and there's just shows, true crime stories and all that stuff. It's a very niche market.
And I say, you know, I'm the reason why you're where you're at, because this is my way of kind of telling him,
Justifying it, yeah, putting him in
yes,
his
you know,
place.
because during my pregnancy with him, I was so sick, throwing up nonstop, 24/7. I lost 30 pounds during my pregnancy, not gained a single pound.
Wow.
So I wasn't able to work, and I would read a lot. And back in the day, you know, it wasn't internet reading or anything. I used to go to the store at the mall called Walden Books. I don't know if y'all remember that store.
Shit, yeah.
If they didn't have a particular book that I want, and it was always like reading Jeffrey Dahmer books and serial killers and true crime, and I'll never Girl in the Box. You know, there's a book called the Girl in the Box book where a girl was kept in a coffin-sized box underneath the bed. She was kidnapped, and I used to read all this stuff. And my best friend, the one that my creative designer, her aunt would tell me, "Stop reading that crap while you're pregnant. Your child can sense everything while you were carrying your child." You know, so I was a single mom for so long, and I would watch 2020 and Dateline, and it kind of planted that seed in him he used to love watching it with me.
That is,
You know, and then he
amazing.
blows it up and starts creating stuff that has to do with serial killers and true crime stuff, and
That's
it's
amazing.
gotten him where he's at.
Yeah,
you know?
no, that in itself is a testament to what being positive and nurturing a child or any individual can lead to, because if you support them while they're in their gothic stage or while they're experimenting with what brings them a good feeling, whatever it may be, if you're positive and you nurture them and you give them that support, it could blossom into fruitful ventures, you know, and a clean mindset, regardless of what the items he's selling reflect or make me feel like. The truth of the matter is that every gothic or every serial killer psych ward shirt that he produces that may have ties to a negative event for whatever reason, it's bringing him positivity in his life. And the people who are wearing it are feeling accomplished by buying it for themselves, you know, or giving it to a friend. And so I think that it speaks volumes, like I said earlier, that when you nurture things that you don't understand sometimes, it leads to really, really good stuff like this. Now here you are doing basically what you were asking your son not to do.
Yep.
You know, so
That's what I mean.
Talk
Came back
about
to-
full circle. Talk about realization and the whole positivity vibe. Gosh, I'm super enamored with the story of your son and how he basically looked at his peers at school and says, pardon my French, but fuck you, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do,
Do
because
what
it
I'm gonna
makes
do.
me happy. What I'm doing isn't a reflection of you. It's a reflection of what makes me feel good and accomplished. And it's important that people get back to understanding that what makes us happy is important, because if you're happy, your happiness will rub off against even your naysayers. So God bless you guys, man. That's so awesome. The money part is badass, because everybody wakes up in the morning needing and wanting more money for whatever reasons, good or bad. But the process that you guys went through and how it brought you all together and how you've created something that other people in the world are appreciating and wearing proudly. Dude,
Yeah.
that's, talk about just hitting that mark, man.
The interesting part is there's so many people in the world. So obviously some of those niches are going to be fulfilled. And I talk about this all the time, is finding an underserved
Underserviced market.
underserved market and servicing.
And servicing it.
I think that's amazing.
Wow. So what's next? What are you working on now?
I mean, like I said, I'm just kind of rolling with it. The way I'm thinking right now is October is coming around. It's breast cancer awareness, so maybe toss out a design for that. And then Halloween's like my absolute favorite holiday of
Yes.
all time. Throw out some designs for that, and then we have like Thanksgiving, football. Just
So it basically went from just a shirt that you wanted to kind of sport yourself to now you have this whole business that you need to cater to and kind of work with and whatnot. And you don't have a specific theme. No. It's whatever you want on any kind of piece of merchandise, I'll get it and make it for you and get it to you.
yeah, and that's kind of what I'm doing for my friend that reached out to me for that birthday party that she's having Monday. And the best part of this is, like, I tell people, I went from working 8:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday, being on call every other weekend, to working like 24 hours for the past, 2 months.
Entrepreneurship is fun, isn't it?
But I would not trade it for the world,
yeah, no.
because
Freedom.
freedom, and it's not to say that I loved my job. I loved what I did. But I don't have to be there to be an advocate, I can be an advocate anywhere.
That's exactly right.
And I would pray about it, and I would ask God, just give me a sign. Maybe it was my time, maybe not, because I was kind of teeter-tottering back and forth. And I got my sign.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like you said, the money part is good. And yes, on paper it looks like, wow, she made all this money if she's selling them for this much. But what people don't seem to keep in mind a lot of times, like the outsiders
Overhead.
that don't, yeah, like
Fees
half
too?
of it's gone.
Jeez.
Half of it's gone because you have to pay your
You have to
website.
reimburse yourself for your initial
You have to
investment.
pay for all the product. You have to pay for people that I'm paying to help me
And
print
every
the stuff.
single order has a fee that gets attached to it.
Exactly. And that's what people don't understand. But like I said, if it just happened once, so be it. I'm fine with it. It's going to get me through this next year of me being able to stay. I'm able to take my kids to swim lessons.
That's awesome.
That's why I had to reschedule with you. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, my kids are in swimming from this time to this time. And I was never able to do that before.
But the thing is that what the value, at least in my humble opinion, is the intrigue that you've captured over all of these people. Now, there are people out there, at least 1,600 of them, who have ordered from you, who have sampled your product, sampled your efficiency, your worth ethics. You got them the product. Now you have 1,600 people who are just, when is Rachel going to drop something else?
You don't know how many
know.
messages I've gotten.
Oh, I bet. Like,
Of
the
like, what are you
community
coming
you're
up with
building.
next? Oh, great quality. I love the shirt. It's so soft. Let me know what else you come up. I had
That's
a lady
where the value is.
literally order a second shirt yesterday because she says the
Gave
first
me
one,
goosebumps. That's where the value is, man.
the first one I didn't want to wear it because I don't want to mess it up.
Wow.
She's like, so I ordered a second one, and then that same day she ordered the second one was when I added the tumblers and those glass cups for like the iced coffees. Mind you, that I just slapped a decal on that iced coffee cup. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. You're not inventing
No.
anything.
And that decal is something I purchased off of Etsy.
Yeah.
So I did that the same day she ordered the second T-shirt because she wants to wear the first one and not mess one of them up. She ordered a tumbler and the glass cup also.
Nice.
And she says, anything else, just let me know. Let me know what you have.
Yeah,
And I'm just
that
like,
is where the
That's
true
awesome.
value is, man. That the eyes are on you now, and they are looking for the quality that they already associate with you. And if you can instill that in people who are following you, then you're always going to have a sale. Whether it's something that you're creating yourself or something that's niche or something, the fact of the matter is that you've gained 1,800 people who trust your product and your brand. And shit, man, that's worth
That's
worth its
amazing.
weight in gold.
So,
That's
Rachel,
just-
before we finish off, the people that are on the sidelines worried about just getting started, what would you tell them? Like, if they're in the same spot as you were, what would you tell them? What piece of advice?
If it can happen accidentally to me, then it can happen to anybody. You just have to get it out there to the right audience. Simple as that. Go with it.
TikTok was your audience.
that was the
TikTok was-
vessel that you delivered everything to. Wow.
Chris, did you ever think that you'd be using TikTok to make sales?
Honestly, I was completely against TikTok. But the pandemic happened.
Yeah,
And when we were
yeah.
at home, honestly, like that's what got me through watching the funny videos, what people would post. And that's what got me through.
I want you to
The
know, I
whole-
still to this day don't own or have a TikTok. Or
My husband didn't have one until I went viral.
and now he got his own.
So he could be my follower.
Well, I'm in love with the story. I like how everything came together for you guys and for your son especially and you. I'm kind of considering getting a TikTok now, man.
Do it and follow me.
I've been telling this guy forever to get TikToks, and there's times that I'll put you on TikTok, and he's like, "Oh, all right, so whatever."
Yeah, I was like, all right, go ahead, record. It's just that it's so foreign to me, you know, and I have yet to experience the value firsthand. I see the value you pulled out of it. I see the value you get out of it.
And you did it without any dancing or any, well, technically it is a trend, but without any dancing. I think that a lot of people think that you have to go on TikTok and dance.
And dance or make a fool of yourself
Yeah.
or do something stupid to gain the
Which I do.
followers.
I would love for you to see the TikTok that the first time that I posted. I'll show it to you before I leave, just so you
Yes.
can see what I actually put out there. Because, like I said, I never
Well, it's funny.
even advertised that T-shirt. It was never even advertised. It was more like nothing was on there. It was just like another Johnny Depp design. I think it had my caption, like that was it. Another Johnny Depp shirt. I think this is my favorite, or something to that effect, and that's it.
And it's crazy because you didn't have any like high-end production. You literally used a phone.
My phone.
That
That's
is
what I
crazy.
used.
Well, it's something similar happened to Judy, my wife, and I back when the pandemic first hit. My wife and I brought down and owned the very first fully sanctioned and legal poker room here in the Valley in Edinburgh. It's called the House Club. When the pandemic hit, everybody obviously had to close down, and all of a sudden you started seeing these plexiglasses up at the grocery stores and banks and everywhere. I called a good buddy of mine who was also a member of our club, Roy, who works with plexiglasses and acrylics and stuff like that. And I told him, Roy, I'd like to build a barrier that would separate each one of my players from the dealer. And he was like, I got you. And he came over and we sat, we brainstormed. And before you know it, we set up a poker table with individual slots, plexiglass, everything. And it was functional. And I recorded us assembling it. My wife's in the background and stuff, and I just posted it. Hey, members, we're about to, we're getting these things up for everybody's protection. At 4:30 in the morning, I start getting text messages, bling, 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 bling. And my wife's like, who's texting us? And we get in. Sure enough, it was all these members who saw it, who were telling me, Rob, your video just went viral, and you got these professional people who play poker sharing and talking about it and commenting it.
Wow.
And all of them were telling me that I was an idiot, basically. But I didn't care. Everybody was looking at what we were doing. So I understand the process of going viral and how it can be monetized, but I didn't have anything to offer them. It was
Yeah.
like, I'm doing this for me. You guys want to do it, you can copy it and do it yourselves, but I didn't have an empire or money to start traveling and, retrofitting tables with plexiglass. Here, you very innocently post a picture of a t-shirt that you designed and made, and it turns into cash.
My last check was used to purchase boxes of T-shirts.
Wow, man, that is.
That's
just
what I
so-
all I did was like me persiné, and I'm like, okay, here
Go,
my
go do
last.
your thing.
Yeah.
And it was my last, like, it was a partial check, so it wasn't even like an 80-hour check. It was not what I was used to. It was a small check, but I said, here we go,
Diosito
deposit,
sabe lo que hace.
and I purchased cases of T-shirts.
That's awesome.
That's
Well, Rachel, man, I'm just so blown away by the story.
Told you.
And yeah, he was telling me, I was like, what, she sells T-shirts? And he was like, yeah, but like, dude, like overnight and this. And I was like, all right, bring her on. Let's talk to her. I want to know.
it was crazy. I'm telling you, it took me a good 2 weeks to fully, I guess, like,
Ground yourself and absorb everything.
because I would get online and I would see the number of sales and I'd start crying because I'm just like, and not at everybody's because you were scared. No, because
Just
I couldn't
overwhelmed,
believe that
yeah.
was happening to me.
Yeah.
You know, like,
it's humbling.
Well, I will say this before we finish off the podcast. Everybody that is an advocate, you all are really the true heroes. I got to see from the sidelines of what you all do every single day, and it's super admirable. And I thank you for that because I never got to thank you all in person. So now that you're here, thank you for everything that you do. I think these are the unsung heroes that the Rio Grande Valley, especially here in the Rio Grande Valley, because child abuse is very prevalent here and a lot of stuff like that. It's horrible stuff that you never get to hear about. People like you take it in you and internalize it. So before, I've always wanted to say it. Thank you.
Thank you
for what
yes.
you all do.
and for being an inspiration to all the entrepreneurs and all the people out there who are struggling to make ends meet and who get disillusioned by shortcomings that we all suffer from sometimes. I think that you are a very positive person to look at in terms of good things happen, they happen quickly, and you have to remain positive and grateful. And if you do, then you'll see yourself through that. And
Absolutely.
you're a testament to that, Rachel. So thank you for coming on and sharing. And you need to help us get your son here so we can
oh,
interview
absolutely.
him.
I'm sure he'd love it.
That'd be
Awesome.
great, man. I'm so impressed by today's youth and
Yeah.
everybody who's benefiting from the internet.
Well, Rachel,
The true heroes, though, I have to say before we
Yes,
finish
yes.
up, I've always said that the true heroes are all those survivors that walk through those doors of like places like the courthouse and advocacy centers and CASA. You know, those are the true heroes because, you know, those children are so resilient. And I feel like adults are the ones that have a harder time understanding or fully getting through what we would listen to on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Those children are, you know, they were amazing. And honestly, they were what kept us going.
Wow.
You know, so those are the true heroes. I feel.
I definitely agree.
Yes. Well, Rachel, thank you
That's
very
our
much
show.
for sharing
Thank you
our
so much.
story.
I feel
Thank
like
you
we
for
needed
having
more
me.
time, but
This
gosh,
was fun.
this was super fun. Yes,
Yeah,
thank
this
you
was
so
fun.
much.
You're going to inspire a lot of people. I
Yes,
guarantee.
I hope so.
definitely.
Because I'm going to
Yes.
send this link to all those people that were like, I'm waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time.
Yeah,
Just
you
go.
gotta
It
do
happens.
it. You
Just
gotta do
keep-
it. Let it fall on your lap.
Yeah.
And be grateful when it does.
You know, me not even like wanting to get to that level, it just happened. So
That's so.
if it's meant for it to happen, it's gonna happen.
gonna
Just keep going with it.
I wish you continued success.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye, Rachel.
Bye.
Bye. See y'all later.